absolute insanity. As I take the books out and tell you about them, I'm gonna stack them on the couch next to me. See that right there? Then we're gonna count them all up and see what our final number is. This video really might kill me, you guys. Oh my god, it's gonna be so much. Is that a final count? Guess, just guess. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah. Welcome to our library that has grown and expanded over this past year. I actually have to get a new bookshelf. I am fully stacking books like on top of each other on like every single shelf. I am just running out of room. So we are getting a new bookshelf. Before we did, I wanted to do a little mid-year check-in. I wanted to see how many books we have on our physical TBR in mid-year 2024, because I did one of these videos, I think at the end of 2023, to see how many unread like books on my physical TBR that I was going to 2024 with. I think it was like 93. That's so much. And I had a big goal to really start dwindling that number down, and I've been working on it. I really haven't, but I've also been buying so many more books. I just want to do a check-in, see where we're at. So that's what this video is going to be. As I take the books out and tell you about them, I'm going to stack them on the couch next to me. See that right there? Then we're gonna count them all up and see what our final number is. It's just gonna be so much and it's gonna be interesting. So let's just start, okay? We're gonna start with this first shelf, and the first book that I see on here is Bellana by Adeline Grace, fantasy romance duology. All I know about it is that it's like a romance with death. Like death is a character and it's a romance with death. It kind of low-key reminds me of Supernatural, because if you watch Supernatural, death is personified several times in that show, and me and my boyfriend are on the last season, so like that is on top of my mind at the moment, and it really reminds me of a Supernatural type of thing. Signa's mom dies, and then Signa, I guess, like talks to her spirit, and the mom says that she was poisoned, so then Signa goes out on this quest to figure out who poisoned her mom, of which that is where she meets death, and the story develops from there. It looks like it's really interesting, and I've seen some quotes from here and they look like they're just gonna be so great. There we go. First book. Ready. The last book in the Chestnut Spring series, this is Hopeless by Elsie Silver. I am currently reading Reckless, which is why that is not up here right now. Bo and I don't know who, and Bailey. Bailey, if I remember correctly, was mentioned either in the first or second book. She is a bartender, I'm pretty sure. Bo is older, and Bo, his story has been developing throughout the books, the first 4 books of Chestnut Springs, where he is like a war vet. He was always like that happy-go-lucky fun guy, but especially in this 4th book that I'm reading, the book that comes right before this, it seems that Bo has like a darker side, and the war has affected him more than he lets on. They start out as a bet, like a fake fiance type thing, but you know, that is, we know how that goes. Each of the Chestnut Springs books has a trope. This is the fake dating trope. I have been so looking forward to getting through Chestnut Springs so I can finish with the wild love and everything like that, but some people were not happy with how this book unfolded. I'm nervous, but I love Elsie Silver's writing, so I think it's still gonna be good. The next book we have is Wild Love by Elsie Silver. First book in her newest series. I think it's the Rose Hill. Yeah, the Rose Hill series. The cover is beautiful. This one is actually about Ford Grant. They're billionaires. Rosie Belmont. He is related to Willa, who the second book of Chestnut Springs is about. I'm pretty sure they already know each other. That's fun. I don't really know too much else about Rose Hill because I've been waiting to read it until getting past Chestnut Springs, but that is this book, and I am so excited to read more Elsie Silver's writing and just to get into a new world that she's created. Powerful and Powerless and Reckless actually just came out. Powerless is fantasy YA book. Powerful is a novella in the same series. This book has been compared to Fourth Wing, which I've loved, but like better enemies to lovers, which I feel like can't be true. This has been enemies to lovers, fantasy, Everyone loves this couple, everyone loves this series, and I've just been waiting to get into it. I feel like I need the perfect time to get into it. It is about Peyton and Kai. There's ordinaries and there's elites. She's an ordinary but posing as an elite, and she has to go through trials that elites who are people with powers are supposed to be able to do, but without those powers. That's gonna be fun. It's giving a little bit of Avatar, which I think is also fun. And then this is Powerful. It is the newest novella that just came out. I think from the point of view of someone that we meet in here. Definitely looking forward to reading this series. I just am waiting for the right time. I don't know. I feel like it's gonna consume my soul, and like I need to wait for the right time, you know? Rounding up this shelf, we have Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco. This is in the Kingdom of the Wicked world, which I read the whole Kingdom of the Wicked series by Carrie Maniscalco, and I've loved it. Like, I love it. If you watch my top book recs video, I was obsessed with that series. And this is Envy's story. So Envy is one of the princes of hell. There's like a game element to this, which I think is so fun. It's Envy's story. Just waiting for like fall time to read this because I feel like I like reading fantasies in fall time. Again, look to my book recs video. I explain my whole genre breakdown for each season in that video. But this is gonna be like, it looks like it's gonna be a really, really good story. I love this world, so I can't wait to get into it. Alright, that's our first shelf. That wasn't so bad. Moving to our second shelf. I've done The Education by Naomi Novik. This is part of a trilogy actually, and it's a dark academia. I've had this book for quite some time. I got this book after I finished reading The Atlas 6, which is like a dark academia book, and I really liked that genre, so I heard this is like a next really good one. So I bought it, but I haven't read it yet. Of course, that's why it's in this video. The way the school is shaped is like a screw, and you start like freshman year out on the top of the screw, and each year the screw screws into the earth further. Does that make sense? By the time you graduate, you either have to graduate or you die because the screw pulls you into the ground, which is a very dark take on this. We have Red Rising, which is by Pierce Brown, which is the start of another series, part of the Red Rising trilogy, and this is a sci-fi book. The thing that has been keeping me from reading this sci-fi book is because it is sci-fi, and I don't think I've ever read a sci-fi book. I think that I would like them, but I feel like they're just big brained, and like I really need to pay attention when reading a sci-fi book. I need to be in the right mindset, and it's not an easy little beach read, which is why I haven't read it yet. So it says, his wife taken, his people enslaved, driven by a longing for justice and the memory of lost love, Darrow will stop at nothing to bring down his enemies, even if he must become one of them to do so. Fun! We have Wretched by Emily McIntyre. This is the third book in the Never After novels series. It's like a dark retelling of your favorite fantasies where the villain wins. So this is actually a dark retelling of Wizard of Oz, and the main character is Alfalfa, but her name's not Alfalfa in this. Evelina, the Wicked Witch of the West. It's a dark romance series, but I really like how Emily McIntyre adds little Easter eggs in it from the original fairy tales. Like, the main character's name is Evelina Westerly, like Wicked Witch of the West. Then, you know, she has, I think it's her sister, Dorothy. It's like a fractured fairy tale, I think is how she describes it. I don't know, I just heard mixed reviews on Wretched, which I think is also a reason why I kind of am straying away from it. 5 books in the Shatter Me series. We have Restore Me, Find Me, which is 2 novellas, Shadow Me and Reveal Me, Defy Me, Imagine Me, and then Believe Me, which is the last novella. These are the next 5 books in the Shatter Me series that I have to read. I read the first 5, or first 4, I guess, but it's 2 novellas, so really 5. Actually, the author took a break. After Ignite Me, which is the last book that I read, the author in real life took a break from writing the Shatter Me series and then came back to it 5 years later. I felt like it is such a large series. Like, this is literally half of the series. There are 5 other books that I already read. It's a YA dystopian series. I really liked when I was reading it, but it's just a commitment. This is a commitment to get into and finish. Again, it's been on my mind to finish these books. They have some of the most beautiful covers I've ever seen. Ignite Me was like an amazing book. That is like one of the top rated books that I have. Ignite Me, which is the last book in this series before Restore Me. I have a couple videos on Shatter Me, so I've talked about it at length. Go watch these here if you're curious about the first 5 or so books. Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood, and Crescent City, House of Sky and Breath. These books are huge. By Sarah J. Maas. I just finished the ACOTAR series, and then I want to get on to the Throne of Glass series, and then I am going to read this series. It is a more like contemporary fantasy, I'm pretty sure. I am waiting to get through Throne of Glass to read these 2 massive books, and I know the third one came out, but since I'm not going to read these anytime soon because I have to get through the entire Throne of Glass series first, I did not buy the third one because I wanted to match height-wise. I am waiting for the paperback to come out because if I got that hardcover and it was like this high and it was just sitting on my shelf for a few months, it would make me upset. And that's all for the second shelf. Okay, moving on to the third shelf. First two that I see are Fable and Namesake, which if you put them together, how cool is that? When I saw that in the bookstore, I just had to get them. This is the first book, Fable, and then there's Namesake. They have cute little sprayed edges, and it looked really good. Like, it basically is about Pirate's daughter, and her mother drowned during a storm. The next day, her father abandoned her. Now she has been living on this island filled with thieves. She is embarking on her journey to find her father. So that is what this series is about. Looking forward to reading this series once I finish other series. And then we have The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer. It is about a teacher's aide, and all she wanted is to have a child, I believe. She has this little orphan, Christopher, that she reads to, and she wants to adopt him. He enlists in this wishing game. This author is holding a contest in his home. They can compete, and whoever wins gets the rights to this like really highly anticipated, super famous author's book to sell it, and all the royalties go to them. So then of course it will fix her money problems, and I hear that's really heartwarming and touching. Next we have The Book Jumper. I got this book actually in one of my recent bookstore vlogs, maybe not so recent, but a few months ago in a bookstore vlog, and it is really cool because it reminds me of the YA book that I read when I was younger called Inkheart. These two, I think the story is maybe told from this girl's point of view, but they're book jumpers, which means they can go into a book and enter that story, talk to those characters and all that stuff, and I think that is amazing. As a reader, doesn't that seem like the best superpower in the entire world? Just be able to go into whatever book you want to and then like interact with the characters and the world as a real person. Like, that just seems so cool. So that's why I got this book, and again because it reminded me of Inkheart, which is a book series that I really liked. It's almost like an Alice in Wonderland type of retelling as well, I believe. Fun because there's like a white rabbit and a Mad Hatter, and they're just fun. Say You Swear by Megan Brandy. So this is a famous college romance. Actually, I got this book when it was on a sale, and I know why it's on a sale now because I think I have like a damaged copy. You see that? Like, the pages were like stuck together when I got it, and I just sort of like cut them apart. The book is still readable, so I was like, yeah, that's fine. And I just been kind of off the college romance vibe, but this one is really famous on Book Talk a few years ago, so I bought it and I want to get into it at some point. I don't think it's gonna be anytime soon, but it's here just in case. Never by Jessa Hastings. I love Jessa Hastings. She's the author of the Magnolia Park series. This book is a Peter Pan retelling, and I know, first of all, the cover is absolutely gorgeous. And I love Jessa Hastings' writing, so I picked this up right away when I heard that she was putting out this book. Since then, I've seen that it's been very controversial online, and a lot of people didn't like it. That is why I haven't read it, and it's just been sitting here looking pretty on my shelf. Oh my goodness. Ah! Oh, I almost dropped this candle. Did you see that? That would have been shattered. I can't do this. The Throne of Glass series. Wow, look at me holding all these on one arm. By Sarah J. Maas, the author of ACOTAR, the author of Crescent City. I'm sure you've heard about this series. I have yet to read it. I really want to read it this year, and that was one of my goals that I knew in the beginning of 2020. I know in that video that I was telling you about, that I posted about like my physical TBR at the end of last year, that I said this is the series I was get to really soon. I just haven't, and it's middle of the year. I need to get through it. I do. It's just a commitment, and I know it's gonna take over my life. Again, like with Powerless, this series I know is gonna take over my life. So I am just putting it off, but I have them all here and waiting for me. I know they're gonna be so good. I know it. I haven't picked them up yet because it's going to consume my entire life and personality. The Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy, another series that has been on my like TBR for the longest time. I wanted to get through the Cannibal series first. I am currently on the last book, so once I finish finale, I am going to jump right into this series. Super hyped series. Super hyped trilogy. I just want to read it so bad. I do love Stephanie Garber's writing so much. Like, that's what I realized from the Cannibal series that I'm reading right now. We'll see. We're gonna get to this one soon, for real. That is our third shelf. We cleaned it out because it was mainly Throne of Glass. Now moving on to our fourth shelf. Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. Her Lakefront Billionaire series. I think Love Unwritten just came out recently. I haven't gotten that book yet. But this is Lauren Asher's new series after Dreamland Billionaires and after the Dirty Air series, which I read both of those. And if you, again, watch my top book recs, you know that Lauren Asher is one of my must-buy authors. So I bought this book immediately. It is a romance and it looks huge, but you know, so did Final Offer. And I absolutely love this book. I think they look like they're around the same height. That's thick for a romance book. It is. Waiting for the right time to read it, but it's gotten okay reviews. Just like, again, it's very thick for a romance book, so I think that was the main critique on this book. It takes place on Lake Wisteria, which is a good segue from Final Offer, the last book in the Dream on Billionaire series, because that took place on Lake Wisteria. And this did as well. So it's about Julian and Dahlia, and it's romance. And I think Julian is like a renovator, but it seems like an enemies to lovers because the first sentence is, if I ever caught on fire, Dahlia Munoz would fan the flames with a smile. And that's just a funny, great way to introduce an enemies to lovers story. So I think that'll be really fun. Oh my god, it's so hot in here, and I turned the air off so like you didn't have to hear it when I was recording this video, but it's so hot. I'm gonna turn it on again. We're gonna push through as long as we can. Addicted to You by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is the first book in the Addicted Calloway Sisters series. Super famous book talk series. I think I started reading the first couple chapters. It seemed interesting. I don't know why I put it down. It's a huge series to get into. I am like very much avoiding getting into huge, big, long series because I want to finish my series I'm currently in right now before I enter into more series. Oh my gosh, it's so hot. This video really is gonna kill me. Things We Hide from the Light and Things We Left Behind. These are the last two books in the Knock 'Em Out trilogy. I read the first one, Things You Never Got Over, and these are the second and third books. I think I started reading this one, but again, they're romance books and they're massive. So it's just not the book that I will automatically pick up in the summertime when I'm looking for a nice quick beach read romance. And again, this one didn't get as much good reviews, but this one got okay reviews. So basically this one is about Nash, who is the police chief brother of the guy in the first book, who is Knox, I want to say. This is about Sloane and Lucian, who we have alluded to a lot in the first book, and I'm thinking it's alluded to more in this book. They have like a really weird rivalry that no one really knows that much about, so that's what the third book is about, is their love story. They're gonna get read at some point, but they're just huge! Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This is, I think, one of the only Emily Henry books that I have not read yet. I'm in the middle of a funny story currently. It's a contemporary romance book. If you know Emily Henry, she writes contemporary romance. She is one of my top writers of all time. It is about two rivals, one summer, and a plot twist they didn't see coming. That is what this says. I kind of like going into it blind. Ooh, I'm gonna pick this one up soon. I know I am. The Resort, which is a thriller from Book of the Month that I got. It was a vacation to kill for. So when you come to this like paradise island, there are 3 rules. 1, leave the past behind. 2, always be careful who you trust. And 3, if someone discovers who you really are, run. I love a good thriller. Okay, that is our 4th shelf. We're moving on to our bottom shelf. And should I just bring you down? Maybe I'll just bring you down. Okay, hello. Welcome to my floor. Welcome to the bottom shelf. First, we have The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This is a very famous book that came up to me randomly on Amazon recommendations, and I bought it right away because it sounded interesting. So I decided to read Caraval before this one, and it's sort of giving the same vibe, I think, but this definitely is a famous book. So basically there is a duel between 2 young magicians, Celia and Marco, and this is a game where only one can be left standing with high stakes, and they fall in love. So that's fun. To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. I think this is a dark retelling of The Little Mermaid. It's about Princess Lyra, who is a siren. And then she gets turned into a human by her mom to punish her, and the only way that she can be not human anymore is if she kills Prince Elian, and of course they meet and they fall in love, so that poses a issue for her. I soft DNF'd it, but I do want to get back to it. Then we have State of Grace, which is a very old book. I actually got this from my library. It's a dystopian world. Paradise on the outside, but really a dystopian world. And the main character has to make an impossible choice. That's all I know about it. It was only 25 cents at the bookstore, and I thought it was pretty, so that is why I got it. Life's Too Short by Abby Jimenez. Yours truly was my first Abby Jimenez book, and I read that in a recent video, and I loved it so much. So then I got Life is Short when it went on sale on Amazon. I've heard that this book can make people cry, which that's so crazy because it seems like just like a fun romance from the cover, but apparently gets super deep, which knowing Abby Jimenez's writing kind of tracks because she is known for writing romances that have a super deep conflict also in them. And then I have Wait For You by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the start of another really long series. Also, I remember when I got this book, this author has written so many books. Like, can you see that? That's crazy. She wrote so many books. A romance interconnected series, I believe, of a young adult. It's a college romance, I believe. I've never tried this author before, but I think this is a pretty famous series. We have Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. This actually became a Netflix series, so I am very looking forward to that. I have not read a Kristen Hanna book yet, but I have been wanting to. It's been recommended by some of my friends to read Kristen Hanna. Do you think, based on what she writes, like, I will really like this book? It is spanning 30 decades, and I think it's about female friendship. Yeah, it's about two women and the friendship that defines their lives through more than 3 decades. Like, it follows these women throughout their life. I really want to get into this book, but again, I think it's gonna make me cry. I need a lot of convincing to read books that are gonna make me cry. Hopefully these don't fall down. Next, we have Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. YA fantasy, I believe. It's a duology. It's about an outlaw family. It says, when outlaw leader meets reformed thief, a cat and mouse game of false moves ensues, bringing them intimately together in a battle that may cost them their lives and their hearts. I've heard a lot about this duology, this Dance of Thieves, Vow of Thieves duology. I think I'm gonna really like it. I really think I am. Gonna read that in the fall or the winter time when I like to read my fantasies. Then I have The Hunger Games, Ballad of Songbird and Snakes. I haven't seen the movie, and I am purposely not seeing the movie because I want to read this book first. I read The Hunger Games in middle school when everyone else read The Hunger Games, and when this book came out just recently, I was like, okay, well, I mean, I have to buy it, right? Like, I have to. It's the Hunger Games story, and I'm excited to see President Snow's story. But I don't need to tell you that much about that because it's been everywhere. And then we have The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston, a book that I am so excited to read. I actually have it on my Kindle as well. A type of fantasy romance that's more of like, I don't know what it's called, but like soft fantasy, where it's like not super high stakes, like low stakes fantasy. And it is about time travel. So there's this girl, Clementine, that moves into her, I think, grandmother's house, and then just randomly this man appears and claims that this is his apartment, and she's like, no, this is my apartment, and it turns out he is from 7 years in the past. So I think that's gonna be fun. I love that. I love a time travel romance. Okay, that is this stack of books. And now moving on to this stack. Oh my gosh. Okay, first we have A Fate Inked in Blood by Daniel L. Jensen. This is book 1 in the saga of the Unfated. I got it from Book of the Month. It's about Freya, and it's a Viking romance, I'm pretty sure, which is so fun. I do wish that I did not get the Book of the Month version and I got the like regularly printed version, because it has like a nice sprayed edges that match this color, and it has, I've seen those in the stores, but I haven't bought it because I already have this one. Viking fantasy. I think it'll be cool. I have never read a Viking fantasy. We have Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. She is the author of The City of Bones. Well, Shadowhunters novels in general. There's like so many of them. There's like 2 or 3 trilogies, and then the Mortal Entrance was like a 7-book series, spin-off series. Like, it's a whole Shadowhunters world that she's created, and this is her stepping outside the Shadowhunters world. I've only read her books from the Shadowhunters world, but I did remember that when I did read them, I really liked her writing, I really liked her world building and her storytelling. So that is why I got Swordcatcher, just her new fantasy world. If I know Cassandra Clare, I think I'm gonna like this one a lot. Next, we have The Breakup Vacation by Anna. I keep wanting to say Garcia, but it's Gracia. You see that? Whenever I see this book, I want to say it's by Anna Garcia, but it's by Anna Gracia. This I got because it features a Taiwanese American person, and that is what I am. I am half Taiwanese, and this character is half Taiwanese, and when I saw that, I was like, okay, I'm buying it. So basically, this girl goes on a vacation with her friends to get over her long-term boyfriend, and then I think he ends up being there, so that second chance romance, but like heartbreak fresh ensues. And I think I'm gonna read this one again very soon. I just need more time in my day, really. And then I have Rainbow Rowell. Do we remember Rainbow Rowell? Does anyone else remember this from like middle school? This is Eleanor Park. This is actually my cousin's, and I've had it for quite literally over a decade. I can't even, oh my god, this book jacket is upside down. Oh my goodness. I quite literally cannot tell you what it's about. I think it is a young adult romance, but it is so old. It was popular during that Fault in Our Stars time, you know? So I do kind of want to read it just to see what all the hype was about back then. Then we have Lightlark by Alex Astor. This was the series. The second book is out now, Nightbane, I think. Author actually started out on TikTok, I think. She started out as either like a fan fiction or just like sharing her experience writing a book for the first time on TikTok, and then she actually published it, and that has been Lightlark. Honestly gotten very good reviews. Love that origin story for her. Every 100 years, the island of Lightlark appears for only 100 days to host a deadly game, where the rulers of 6 realms fight to break their curses and win unparalleled power. I feel like I love fantasy books that have like games and trials in them. I feel like it just makes it a lot more interesting and higher stakes. So I'm looking forward to that one. Then I have This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. I actually just finished her book Meet Me at the Lake, and This Summer Will Be Different is her newest release. I'm taking a break from Carly Fortune's writing. I do like it. It's very atmospheric, but I feel like whenever I read a Carly Fortune book, I cannot help but compare them to other books. And I don't want to do that. I want to give this author a fair chance. I really liked Every Summer After. Lukewarm on Meet Me at the Lake. So hopefully this one is better. It is actually about Lucy. She goes to Prince Edward Island, see like her best friend's wedding. But see, this is the issue that I have with the Carly Fortune books. Like, they're kind of unbelievable to me. So she hooks up with Felix, who's a local, and she doesn't know that he's her best friend's younger brother. And the only rule that her best friend ever had was don't fall in love with my younger brother. But like, I know what my best friend's younger brother looks like. Like, how are you her best friend and you don't know what her younger brother looks like? In your entire life, you've never seen him? That's crazy to me. Like, very unbelievable. So yeah, we'll see. And then we have Blindside by Candy Steiner. This is another football introduction series. I did not read the first one, but I did just buy the second book, which is Blindside, because it has better reviews than the first one, which I think is called Fair Play, something like that. I do have Blindside, and it is a football college romance. I got out of my football college romance era. That is why I have to pick this one up. But it is a fake dating with the hottest football player in the nation. And then we have, I don't know why these books are so drastically different in size. Like, I don't get it. They're both paperback. Like, what happens? This is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies and Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands. They're both gorgeous. Both these books are so pretty. I think I got the UK covers on purpose because I thought they were so pretty. But again, why the difference in height? Like, when did that happen? Who let that happen? Why did Orbit let that happen? But yeah, this is like a cozy fantasy. I've never read a cozy fantasy, I don't think. It is basically about this girl who goes on a journey documenting fairies, and she's writing a book about fairies, and she meets this boy along the way who I think gets on her nerves but ends up helping her with her research, and that's the romance. And then we have, oh my god, they're so many! We still have this shelf and this shelf to go through. Oh my god. There's Love Interest by Claire Gilmore. This I got because it is a half Asian main character, and I saw this in one of Haley Fong's videos. I'll post it here which one it was. She made her cry, and she said the reason that it made her cry is she thinks because it related so much to her being, like, her parents being immigrants and stuff, and my parent was an immigrant, so will this make me cry? I don't know. A workplace romance. We love the representation. My battery light is blinking at me. Are we gonna get through this? Let's see. It ends with us. Like, call me who. I got this at the height of book talk, clearly. I never read it. Don't know how I'm gonna read it, but that is what that is. Then we have Too Wild to Tame and Too Hard to Forget. These are two that I got on Facebook Marketplace. It's an interconnected romance series, like college romance series. Also Too Hot to Handle, I think was the first one, but I didn't get that one. I just got these two. Yeah, again, I've been out of like the college romance era, so that's why I haven't read these. We have Tell Me Lies by Carla Lovering, which became a Hulu series, but got like terrible reviews and terrible ratings. So I don't know how I feel about this one. That is the end of this shelf. And I'm gonna change my battery, I think, before moving on to our next shelves because it is blinking at me. And I'm out of breath. I need to take a break for a second. Hello. Welcome back up. We're gonna keep on rolling to this next shelf. So actually these are books that I am gonna go through with you, but they are also, I'm gonna only do it briefly because I feature them and talk a lot more about them in another video. It's gonna be like a book video, like an alternate book video type thing. I don't know if it's gonna be out before or after this video, but regardless, look for that video if you wanna know more about these, but I will show you them real quick. First we have Elsie Silver, Off to the Races, One Last Shot by Betty Caillou, and Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir. Beautiful sprayed edges on this one. But Five Broken Blades by May Corland. Again, beautiful sprayed edges on this one, but The Wren in the Holly Library by K.A. Lind. The Ministry of Time by Callie-Ann Bradley. One Star Romance by Laura Hankin. The Heir and Happily Ever After by Kira Cass. And Part of Your Role by Abby Jimenez. Again, look for that book video, ultimate book video, if you want to know more about those ones. I just don't want to repeat myself. And we need to speed this up a little bit. So look for that video to hear more about those books. But I'm very excited about all of them. Spoiler alert. Moving on to our middle shelf right here. Binding 13. Not Binding 13. Boys of Tommen. But it includes Binding 13, which I started but didn't finish. Keeping 13. Saving 6. Redeeming 6. And Taming 7. So this is the Boys of Tommen series. Very, very popular romance series, rugby romance series. Also, trigger warnings. A lot of trigger warnings in these books. I want to give them their right time, give my full all in reading these series. This is so many people's favorite series, so I really want to devote the time and energy to it that it deserves, which is why I have not started yet. I did actually start Binding 13. I got to page 58 and then I soft DNF'd it. There were just other books that caught my attention. I liked it when I was reading it, but there were just other books that I wanted to read a little bit more at that time, so I kind of soft DNF'd it. It's just a very long book. Each of these books, I think this middle one is probably over 800 pages, or this one right here is probably over 800 pages, but they're all over like 600 pages. That's so many pages. For a romance series, Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. This is, I believe, a standalone fantasy series, and I feel like there are not a lot of standalone fantasy series nowadays, so I was intrigued when I heard about this one. It is about a witch, I believe she's a witch, sorcerer, and a grimoire gets released into the world, and then she has to turn to her sworn enemy, Nathaniel Thorne. And then she finds herself entangled in a centuries-old conspiracy. That sounds fun. And I like this as a standalone fantasy, because I feel like, again, not a lot of standalone fantasies exist nowadays, and I feel like sometimes they're better. Sorry, but they are. A Crowns of Nyxia series. The Serpent and the Wings of Night. 6 Scorched Roses, and The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. I think there's another one coming out soon, but this is the Nyxia series. This book went super viral last year, which is why I bought it, and I think I'm gonna really like it. But again, big series. Gotta finish the series beforehand, and again, I feel like it's, with a lot of these books, I feel like their reputation just makes me not want to read them, just makes me avoid them because I'm scared of them. That is how I feel about this one. I really do want to get into it because it's on Kindle Unlimited as well, I believe. And I think I started reading like 1 or 2 chapters of this first book, and I did really like it. I liked it a lot. I always say I did really, but like I did really. It's not like, I feel like when I say I did really, I blend together I did really, so it sounds like I didn't really, but I did really like this when I started reading it. That is the, oh no, Kickin' Books. We have Love Theoretically and Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I read Chicken Maid and Bride by her, and I really liked her writing, and these ones are her older, more famous ones, so I'm super excited to read these. Gonna read them soon. I feel like they are good beach reads. She's really big on women in STEM, so all of these main characters are sort of quirky and have like some sort of talent with STEM. So I do like her writing a lot though. The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. I read Love of the Words by them and I loved it, but this one sounds interesting. It is about Olive and Ethan, and they, I think, are the best man and the maid of honor for her sister's wedding, but then everyone in the wedding gets food poisoning, which doesn't happen, but you know, it's a book, so you're allowed to make that happen. So they are the only 2 that did not get food poisoning, because they were at the rehearsal dinner or something, so they then take the honeymoon trip because I guess that's non-refundable. So that is what this is from. I think that it's a fun setup. It's very unbelievable. Hopefully it'll do it justice. And then there's This Woman Kingdom by Tahira Mafi. This is the author of the Shatter Me series, so I'm gonna finish that series before getting into this series. But it has a little excerpt from Stephanie Garber and also Cassandra Clare on it, which were 2 authors that were in this video, and I love them both. So looking forward to this. It's a fantasy series. I think it's a duology, if not a trilogy. There is a long-lost heir who is now a servant, and she goes back to reclaim her right to the throne, which sounds interesting. So we'll see. Moving on to our next show, we have The Song of Achilles, Madeline Miller. Will I ever read this book? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I want to. Believe me, I want to. I don't know why I haven't yet, but it's gonna remain on our TBR. And then we have the Renegades trilogy, which is Renegades, Supernova, and Arch Enemies, a YA supernatural series, I believe. I don't even know if it's really a romance. It's like an action series, but it also got very good reviews, and it's just like a fun superhero trilogy. So that is why I got it. 6 of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. This is the duology that comes after the Shadow and Bone trilogy, which I just read Shadow and Bone, the first book in that trilogy, and I'm gonna read the second one soon, so that is why I'm waiting on this one. This is actually, I think, the villain's side of things, Kaz. So I really want to watch the TV series of Shadow and Bone, but I think you should read the trilogy and also these because it tells the story of 6 of Crows and also Shadow and Bone in the first episode. So that is why I am waiting to read these in the Grisha universe. But I do really like what I've read so far from Shadow and Bone, so I am going to read these soon and hopefully they will be better. Then we have The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. Older book, but very famous. Folk of the Year series is just very famous. And then we have If You Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan. Again, this book is super duper sad, and it takes me a really long time to get motivated to read sad books, so that is why I haven't read this book yet. Daughter of No Worlds by Krista Broadbent, and this is also the author of The Serpent and the Wings of the Night trilogy. This has also gotten a lot of good reviews. Also, I don't know how to explain this, but this book is like just thick enough, and it just like feels good in my hand. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like the perfect binding. Anyway, this is the War of Lost Hearts trilogy. So basically, it is about a girl who was born into slavery, and I think she has to fight her way out of slavery. And that's what this is about. The Atlas Paradox by Olivia Blake. It's the second book in the Atlas trilogy. The third book just came out too, but this is the second book. I read the Atlas 6 a while ago. It's in some video. I think a 24-hour video. I'll link it here. But I read Atlas 6, and it was very good. It was my first dark academia book. But it took a lot of like brain power on my part to figure out what was happening. I really had to pay attention to what I was reading because the words are small on the page. The pages are long, and it's just like I feel like the content is dense. So I have not read the Atlas Paradox yet because even though it was a cliffhanger on how the Atlas 6 ended, I really gotta pay attention when I read this book. Like, I like the story and I like the book, but it's just like, I feel like I'm too dumb sometimes to understand what they're saying unless I'm like fully focused in on it. So we're gonna save this for a fall reading journey just because I feel like in the summer at the beach, this is not the book to read because you won't be able to focus as well. And that's this second shelf of the second bookshelf done. Come on down with me. Here we are, back down. This shelf. Can you see? Come on over. Come look at this shelf with me. King of Wrath and Kings of Pride. The first two books in the Kings of Sin series by Anna Huang. She's also the author of Twisted Love, which is also on her physical TBR. These are interconnected standalone series is this one, and so is this, the Twisted series. They have a lot of hype, so I think they're gonna be good. One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. This is by Rachel Gillig. This is the One Dark Window duology. Very fall wintry vibe, so I'm saving that for fall and winter. It is basically about, I think I've described it so many times on my channel. It is about Elspeth, and there's like a mysterious fog settling over her kingdom, and the only way to make it stop is if you find all these cards that have secret powers. So the magic system is like cards, and if you find the card, then you get that power or something, and she needs to go on a journey to find all the cards. Very Lord of the Rings, going on a quest. Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan. This book is beautiful, first of all, and I really want to read this. I think it takes into account Chinese folklore, a captivating and romantic debut fantasy inspired by the legend of Chang'e, the Chinese moon goddess, in which a young woman's quest to free her mother pits her against the most powerful immortal in the realm. Wow! Siege and Storm and Ruin and Rising, the next two books in the Shadow and Bone trilogy. This one is the next one I have to read. I want to read it soon because like I said, I want to get the Shadow and Bone trilogy, and the first book went by very fast. I was very much into the first book. I have One True Love by Taylor Jenkins Reid. She wrote These Rose and the Six. She wrote Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and she wrote Malibu Rising, which I loved those books so much. This one actually also became a movie, and I'm just waiting to read it. It's a little romance, and it is about basically this wife, her husband or fiance goes missing in action, and then several years later when people presume that they are dead, then she rides into an old friend, Sam. They start a little romance up, but then her fiance comes back after years. He comes back and wanted to like start where they left off, but she is a different person now years later, so it's sort of like struggling with that. Very interesting concept. Very deep concept too, I feel. Sanctuary of the Shadow by Aurora Asher. Beautiful sprayed edges. I gotta give a little shout out to them. Debut fantasy? I want to say it's debut. I don't know. I might be lying to your face, but I think it's debut. Kind of giving Caraval again because it's a magic circus to enter at your own risk. Hera goes there to hide basically and disappear because she has her past that is haunting her. She has to disguise her abilities, but then there is a man that comes that she's attracted to, but he's mysterious. They like find a kinship in them both being sort of misunderstood magic people, I believe. So that's this one. The Gilded Cage and the Blood Trader, the next two books in the Prison Healer trilogy. I read the Prison Healer a little bit ago. Really liked it. Also in a video somewhere. But I really liked it, and it ended on a cliffhanger. So I can't wait to see how they start this next one. Basically, I'll just tell you what the prison healer is about. It's about Kiva, and there's like a death prison basically, and there are these trials that Kiva takes on, you'll have to read the book to figure out why. And then she doesn't have any powers, but these trials are made for people with powers, and that's what the Prison Healer trilogy is about, her going through these trials without powers. And these are the next 2 books in it. There's also a lot more to it, but that is just a brief summation of what it's about. Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare, which is, again, in the Shadowhunters world. I read the Mortal Instruments 6-book series, and I read the Infernal Devices, I believe, trilogy, and this is the next trilogy I want to read. Shadowhunters, I don't know how to explain it to you. It's basically a world where they hunt demons. Yeah, last show, Mercy of River and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. This is a MM romance. The first son of the President of the United States and the Prince of England, and it's a romance between them. And it is also a very popular movie that I've yet to watch because I want to read the book, but that's what this book's about. Song of Silver Flame Like Night, Emily Wenzel. Beautiful, beautiful cover. It's a fantasy, and I think, again, it's inspired by Chinese folklore, I believe. There's Zen, who is a practitioner of one of the fabled magicians of the Last Kingdom. And then there's Lan. She has a strange mark burned into her arm, so she wants to figure out why she has that mark. And I think Zen comes and he tries to help her. The first 4 books in the Heartstopper series. These are actually graphic novels. I've never read like a graphic novel before, but I feel like these can go by so fast. And it's also a TV series that everyone is really liking, and I'm honestly gonna read these very soon. Well, spoiler alert, that's gonna be a video coming soon. Oh, it looks so cute! We have Archer's Voice. This is a book that, like I said, its reputation intimidates me. So I haven't read it yet. But it is by Mia Sheridan. It's a love story. I think it's kind of sad. I don't even tell you what Archer's Voice is about. If you've been anywhere on Book Talk, you know what it's about. Last on this shelf, we have The Brothers Hawthorne. This is the next book in the world of the Inheritance games, which is a trilogy that I really like by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. And this is her more recent release of the brothers, Grayson and Jameson. And I think they have to go on a quest. Yeah, they have games again to win. And I love how Jennifer Lynn Barnes writes these games. Like, she's just so smart, and I love that she leaves little clues throughout the whole book. Try and figure it out before then. I never do. And that's our next shelf. Okay, moving on to this shelf. And let's just stay sitting down here. Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. This is about serial killers, 2 serial killers that kill other serial killers, and they fall in love. And I hear that it is a very fun, tongue-in-cheek book. And I also have, yes, here it is. I have Leather and Lark, which is the next book in this series. So it's a rom-com, but I hear it's very funny, aka com. And that is what Butcher and Blackbird is about, and then Leather and Lark is the sequel. Then we have Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. This is the book that came out. It is a part of the Part of Your World, Yours Truly universe. I only read Yours Truly, and then I talked to you about Part of Your World. So I want to read Part of Your World before getting into Just for the Summer, because it's an interconnected series. This will mean more if I read the first 2 in front of it. So let's look it out. Emma and Justin. And they think that they are cursed, where whoever they date, they're the person that you meet before you fall in love with your true love. They are like love's good luck charm, but bad luck for them because they never fall in love. So they meet up and they try to figure that they can cancel each other's bad luck, and they start dating, and we know what happens from there. Every time I see this book, I get emotional. Magnolia Parks Into the Dark. I got the beautiful UK version because I have the other like beautiful UK versions, and I needed to get the last book in this version as well. But it's the last Magnolia and BJ book. And I love Magnolia and BJ, and I am just delaying this because I simply don't want their story to end. But I need to read it. I just, oh god, I love this book so much. I love that series so much. And then we have Darkwater Daughter by H.M. Long. This is a book that my boyfriend picked out, actually, and it seems fun. It is book 1 of the Winter Sea fantasy series. Mary Firth is a storm singer. I think she's basically a siren. She offers her servitude to a pirate lord, and then it's romance between those 2. My Harry Potter shelf. I've read all of these. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, although I saw it in on Broadway, and I was obsessed with it. So I actually bought 2 of them, but I'm only going to include it as one book because they are quite literally the same book. But I bought both versions because I love the Broadway so much that I just had to buy both versions. Highly recommend that Broadway show. It was so good. It's like a time travel about their kids, like Harry and Ron and Hermione and Draco's kids. They try and save Cedric Diggory, like go back in time to use a time trying to save Cedric Diggory, and it is so good. It's so good on Broadway. Highly recommend. Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. This is like an essay style book, I believe. Has great reviews, but I haven't read it because it's a nonfiction and I've been tending more towards fiction books. The Graham Effect by Elle Kennedy. This is a book in the Off-Campus series. I'm actually also in the middle of reading The Legacy, so that is the last book in the Off-Campus series, and then I'm going to move on to this new series about their kids. This is The Graham Effect. It's about the first couple from The Deal, Garrett and Hannah, of which I love this book. It is about their kid. Oops. Oh my god, these are going to be so bad to put back. So yeah, it's a college romance between her and Ryder. Girl Abroad by Elle Kennedy. This is another book by that same author, and it is about a girl who studies abroad in London, and I studied abroad in London. So when I saw that's what this book was about, of course I picked it up immediately. I think there's like a love triangle for her in London, which is so fun. Five Survive by Holly Jackson. Actually, I want to read this one really badly soon, so maybe we'll read this one soon. It all takes place, I think, during one night. 5 or 6 friends get stranded in a car, and then, oh yeah, there's 6 friends and only 5 can survive, and then every hour or something, the person who trapped them, like sends them like things to do, or else like I think they're all gonna die. Next we have The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings. Yes, I saw all of the movies, but I want to read these are very heavy. I want to read the actual book. So we have The Hobbit, that's all 3 books, and this is all the books in Lord of the Rings, and it's illustrated by the author, which I think is very fun. I loved Lord of the Rings and I love The Hobbit, so I wanted to actually read it, but it is basically a classic, I think, and it has illustrations by the author, which really drew me to this edition. These are my last 2. Oh my god, these are my last 2, you guys! We have Come Find Me by Megan Miranda. This is a thriller that I picked up on the $5 table. It is about, I think there's like a murder in her house. And then finally we have The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. This is a book that I started reading, but it was extremely dense and I had to reread the first chapter several times to understand what the heck they were talking about. So this is a book that I really do want to read because it is over 5 million copies sold for a reason. A Guide to Spiritual Enlightenment. And again, I've been kind of off the nonfiction vibe, but I would like to read this sometime soon. Those are our books. Oh my god, don't fall. Okay, let me just show you my couch and then we'll count them. We have books here, books here, books here, and books here. Look at my shelves. Look at my poor shelves. They look so empty. That's crazy. Let's see how many books I have. Oh, let's count our books. Okay, go. I have to reorganize my shelves. I'm gonna be so mad about it. Well, we've surpassed 93. Ah, they're falling! No! I can't lose count. Back up. Ah, okay. Is that the final count? Okay, guess. Just guess. Have a guess. 130. No! The goal all this year has been to decrease my physical TBR, and I've increased it by 33 bucks. And I already read 41. 130 bucks. That's crazy. I need to be stopped. I really need to be stopped. Someone don't let me buy any more books. So while I go put 130 books back on my shelves. Oh my god. We're gonna end the video here because I have talked your absolute ear off. 130 books. So there's our count. Mid-year physical TBR. Check in. We have 130 books on my physical TBR. Good job, Sarah. Oh my god. Okay, I need to process this. But yeah. Thank you so much for watching. I am definitely going to include these books in a video very soon. You will not be seeing a new book haul from me besides that one that I already have planned because I can't do it. So yeah, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye!